Sorry, Sally Wolford. I'm actually an ex-Pommy from the UK, so an ex-police. I'm questioning, a lot of your analysis seems to be on systems. What role do you see road safety education taking? Because from my perspective, coming from a road safety background in the UK, we focused a lot on the education, enforcement and engineering, but all three were sustained for a long period. In South Australia, I see just engineering and enforcement and very little focus on education, and I think that's one of the key areas that is lacking here, and I'd be grateful for your views.
Yeah, I approach all these different possibilities to improve road safety on evidence-based impact. And I do know, of course, that education has a hard job to prove the results of that. But nevertheless, I believe personally that education is a key component of everything. So the other questions related to the position of the bicycle, for example, is part of that education. Well, it's not just talking about safe behavior, but also being a responsible person in traffic. So I do believe that it's important. However, we cannot state that all educational activities are effective, and we have to figure out what are the best way of doing that. So again, I'm supporting you. However, the big question is, can we organize in such a way that we can make that we reduce fatalities and injuries? That's at the end of the day what we try to do. And for education campaigns, that's more difficult than for enforcement, and it's more difficult than for engineering. That's true.
I think we'll take about one more question, if that's all right, over here.
Thanks very much for what you've talked about so far, but I come from a health professional background, and you've talked so far about a lot of engineering and awareness and education, but I'm wondering if you could talk about some of the things and strategies that you've done for managing the health and of drivers in some of the work that you've done, how you assess them. Maybe you talked about in one of your slides about drivers over 75 having a higher risk, and involved in a lot of that is the health of a cognitive ability of a driver. I wonder if you could expand a little bit more on that aspect of driver safety.
Yeah, well, I agree. I didn't touch upon that. We here talking about fitness to drive, and not only in a medical sense, but also when it comes to elderly people. Our approach in the Netherlands is that we would like to see elderly people as long as possible mobile on their own. And then the question is that feasible? We are not thinking about anything about restricting them in taking back their license, for example. However, sometimes it's wise to stop driving yourself. I can refer to my own parents, 92 and 88, and my father decided not to drive anymore, and I said to him that I think that's a wise decision after joining him for a trip. But it's his own choice. But there, in that elderly drive, we are coming to an aging society, so we are going to meet this problem. And I learned from the university they are going to address this item as well. And I think that's a key important item, this aging society, and especially in your society where you're so car dependent, I would say. It's a key issue to be addressed in this new strategy.
Thank you, Fred. Everyone, I think we should wrap up now so you can go home for dinner because it's cold outside. But thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Fred, for a really interesting conversation and sharing your perspectives with us. But I can't thank you enough for physically coming out in the cold to come and join us to really springboard this residency. And I would appreciate it if you'd stay involved with us and check our website regularly and talk to others around it, because just the kinds of questions you've asked tonight and statements you made tell us how complex and hard this work is, and I look to you to be partners with us throughout this whole journey. I'd especially like to thank Adelaide University for allowing us to use this fantastic hall. It's very generous of them, and I look forward to engaging with you again. The residency will run over 10 weeks. Fred will be back later in the year. You'll be able to find those dates out, and there will be one major final lecture where he talks about his recommendations. But for many of you professionally, there will be opportunities also to meet Fred. And as I say, we welcome your comments on the blog, www.thinkingroadsafety.com.au, or please check our website. Thanks, everybody.